Right guys, so before I start hewing away with the axe, just a little tip I suppose from me. Hopefully you can see on here, what I've done is I've actually cut 2 lines with a saw down towards the handle from the top. What that means, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either put your axe up at the top here and split down, and it will split down to that line, but sorry, there we go, split down to the line but no further. Alternatively, you can use your axe here. You can sort of come down here and the line works as a stop cut, so that you shouldn't go past that line as you're cutting and sort of cutting to this area of the wood here, which is obviously where you don't want to take any material away. So for an example, and hopefully you'll be able to see that on the camera if I stand like this. So that is just with cutting down, almost sort of splitting off a section of the wood. And then for the other side, you need to be slightly more careful while doing this. You can't use huge, really heavy cuts. As an example, that's what it allows you to do. So you can start cutting down the sides. You're only going as far as this line as long as you're not hitting too hard. But what I'll do for the sake of easiness, I think I'm just going to split down there as well. So yeah, there's still a little bit of material left there where the cut stops. That's fine, I can pare down to that as I go along. There you can see we are mostly down to our lines now. Still a bit of work to be done here and here and around the top, but we're mostly there. Obviously this is quite thick, so what we're going to do is pare down the back of this, pare down the back of the handle so we get a little bit closer to the thickness that we want. We can then move over to our knife and start shaping this properly to however we want it to go. Now, to be honest, we're pretty much there. Well, I could even leave this as it is. You know, got a nice flat surface here. What I will do, I'm going to cut round here in a second, just to get the handle to the right length, and then we'll be ready for using the knife. Right guys, so here we are so far. Front's nice and smooth, or certainly as smooth as I need it to be. You know, if you were going to use this indoors or maybe as a gift, you might sand it down, but for my purposes I don't think I'll bother. The back is still a little bit rough, but again, this is just the back. Now, you know, you can smoothen this up. I may well do, I haven't quite decided yet. But what I'll do, I'm going to grab my knife and we'll start just tidying this up a little bit. Right guys, so moving on to the knife work. Now I've got two knives here. One is my Mora Companion. This is the heavy duty version, which you may have seen in some other videos. And the other is my small Mora carving knife. Now I tend to use both of these on a regular basis, and occasionally you will find that a smaller knife can sometimes be more useful because you get a bit more control over it. Especially for things where I find like corners, sort of like where I am here, you can get the knife quite close in, get the thumb on the back, and you can start very gradually sort of rounding over these corners. Now they can be done with a larger knife like this, however you don't have quite as much control because you've got a bigger blade. So I'm going to start off with the smaller one, the right sheath. And I'm just going to start rounding off these corners. No need to do it. I mean, as I say, this will work for what we're using it for as a small cutting board. This will work perfectly now as it is already. However, I just want to make it a little bit tidier, and I'll round off these corners that will make a start on the handle. Okay, so there we go. We've rounded off the corners. They're not perfect, they're not completely even, but to be perfectly honest, that doesn't bother me too much. Certainly for the fact that this is something I'll be using. It's not a gift for anybody. It's not something I'm taking in the house to placate the missus. So there we go. And now all I really want to do is just smooth down this handle a little bit as well. Now again, you can use the smaller knife for this. Gives you a little bit of fine control in the corners here. Alternatively, you can flip over to the larger knife and it just gives you a little bit more power in order to take off a bit more material. Okay then guys, so to be honest, that's pretty much done. So you've got a fairly nice comfortable handle here, just smooth down, rounded down the edges. Hopefully you can see that on the camera there, just to make it comfortable to hold. You've got a nice, get the right angle on this camera, so you've got a nice flat surface there for cutting on. The back surface, not so much, I've left that rounded off. Doesn't too much of a problem. You can still have it down here. Let me see. So again, to use this as a cutting board, just using a bit of off-cut wood. There's no movement in this. It's not moving around too much. You know, sort of preparing food on this for argument's sake. Absolutely fine. It's still fairly thick, as you can see. Now you can take this down, have it thinner if you want. I don't really see a purpose of doing it that way. You don't need to do it for any reason, but you know, some people like to make these things thinner, some people like them thicker. You know, you can make a proper chopping board if you like. Make one sort of full size, really thick to actually go in your kitchen, which are also really good. But that is basically it. And what I'm going to do, just before I sign off for the day, I'm just going to show you very quickly, I'm going to move the camera back out and show you how to make an alternative version for this. If you're in a hurry, or if you're like me and you get into one of those moods where you're feeling a bit lazy and you don't want to go down the route of making something like this. This is the sort of thing I would make potentially if I was out in the woods and I didn't really have any set plans and I wanted to use this for preparing my meal. Alternatively, you can make up some bread or some bannock. You can sort of spread that over. This is probably a little bit too small for it, but you could do it for a small one. And then you can prop this up by the coals of your fire and you'll have your bread cooking on this board, and then you've got the board with a handle to sit down and eat it with afterwards. So there's many different uses you can use this kind of thing for. I've actually made things similar to this from quite a large log. It's taken a long time to work a handle, probably about sort of 4 foot long, but with this at the end, and you can make your own shovel as well. So again, it's another sort of thing you could use something of this this type. But let me just move the camera back out and I'll very quickly show you how to make an alternative chopping board for whether you're pushed for time or feeling a little bit lazy or whatever it might be. Right then, guys, so as I say, this is the quicker, the sort of almost the cheating version, if you like, of making a cutting board. And provided you've got a good saw with you, whether it's something like this or a bow saw or a buck saw, all you do is you take a decent sized round and start cutting. Right then, guys, so I'll bring this a bit closer up. What you've got here, simple round, wasn't quite a clean cut there as you can see, a little bit cracked on that side, doesn't matter, and you can use that exactly the same way, obviously minus the handle. So if you want to just cut something down, very quick, basic, simple cutting board. You've got a round, or you've got something a little bit more bespoke that you can take a bit of time over making. And again, it's sort of, because of the handle, it gives you a few more options and ways to use it. To be honest, I use both of these on occasion. The other benefit of this is you can almost use them like plates as well. So if you're cooking something up, provided it's not too liquid and you don't need it to be in a bowl or a dish, you can put stuff on here, use it exactly like a plate, and then if needs be you can either take it home with you, or if you're not going to use it, it just goes straight on the fire. It's burned up while you're burning your wood as you normally would be anyway. So again, two completely different methods. One very quick, but you get something quite basic. The other one a bit more time consuming, but you get something that's almost multi-purpose. You can use it to cook, you can use it to eat off, you can use it to prepare your food, etc, etc. So I hope that was useful, guys. Maybe give you a little something to think about next time you're away on a trip. Please hit subscribe if you'd like to see more, and by all means leave comments or questions below. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, guys.